everybody, this is Tom with The Board Gamer. Today we're going to do a quick overview and review for this game. If you want the full how-to, go ahead and click this icon up here or the link in the description. Now let's get into it. The basic overview of Overboss has each player taking turns drafting terrain and monster tiles to fill in your player board. Once all boards are complete, score accordingly to each tile type and the player with the greatest power wins. Overboss has you building your territory to claim your dominance over your opponents. This simple tile laying game is quick, but has multiple variants you can add to make the game even more interesting. What is better than being an average hero? That's right, being the most powerful monster. Now let's see if Overboss has the strength to be that powerful monster, or if it's just another minion. The components for Overboss are mostly cardboard. The cardboard used is thick and durable, which is nice since when shuffling the terrain tiles on the table or the monsters in the bag, they are constantly knocking in and off of each other. One thing I really like is the detail on all the terrain tiles and monster tokens. Each one has a subtle, unique difference, yet stays consistent enough across their own types so there's no confusion on which tile belongs to which. This added attention makes Overboss more fun and interesting to come back to and see all the different types of tiles and tokens it has to offer. The other components, such as the terrain and command cards, are fine. There's nothing special to say about them, but the boss cards look pretty good. If you have played their earlier boss monster games, you might see a few familiar faces. Seeing the move from 8-bit to 16-bit art style is both amusing and nostalgic, for me especially, since I grew up in that era. But the silk token bag was a bit of a letdown. I wish it had been made of cloth. That way you'd get less random strings whenever you pull tokens out of the bag. Overall, the components work well with the game and look great to boot. Overboss is an easy game to play. All you're really doing is drafting a pair of tiles and placing them on your board. Some terrain tiles have special abilities that activate when placed, and each one scores differently. But you only have to worry about 5 in play, plus the dungeons. Not only that, the game plays pretty quick, which gives the opportunity to play multiple times whenever bringing it to the table. However, in my experience, since I like to be pretty organized, it does take about half the time to set up and put away as it does to play a round of the game. But that could be a good excuse to play multiple rounds at a time. This is one of those games, when comparing luck and strategy, the answer depends on the type of player you are. What tiles come out to draft is luck dependent. But if you're keeping your eye on your opponents, you may be able to pick up a tile or two that you may not really need, but they desperately do, making this more of a strategy game. With each variant you add to the game, like the boss cards and the command cards, the game becomes even more strategy-based than luck-based. I guess what I'm trying to say is the base game starts with the balances leaning more towards luck. The more you invest into the game and the more variants you add, the game shifts the balance more towards strategy. Two of the main factors that contribute to Overboss's replay value is how easy it is to play and how quick it plays. These two factors allow it to be welcomed to the table more often. And once at the table, the fact that you only use 5 terrains per game increases its replayability, along with adding in the different variants. So if you're the type who likes to get the most out of your games and play with everything in the box, you have a decent amount of replay value. On the other hand, unless you're playing with the command cards, there is no player interaction. And how you play, which is just drafting and placing, does not change. Really, all that does is how you score. Now, playing the original boss monsters, I enjoyed how you built the inside of a dungeon to defeat heroes, which had a very 8-bit theme and art style. And now playing Overboss, which opens up the rest of the world outside of the dungeon with more of a 16-bit art style, shows the growth and advancement of the narrative. This really stirs up the nostalgia and grips me emotionally. And although the narrative and theme is consistent across the series, it really just stops there. Building the dungeon and boss monster made more sense theme-wise, especially since you would send heroes in and defeat them. But building an overworld just to say I have the most power feels like it stopped a bit short. I still enjoyed the game, but because of this, it did not feel as satisfying as it did at the end of playing a round of boss monsters. To conclude this review, I want to say Overboss is an interesting take on the 16-bit era, and I am curious to see if they try the bad 90s 3D for their next game in the series. This board gamer says Overboss is not boring, but could probably use a couple more objectives or levels. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified about new videos. If you're bored now, click this for more games.